Today, Vladimir Putin's Ukraine invasion is 2 weeks old. The Kremlin marking it by accusing the United States of waging economic war against Russia. Punishing global sanctions have pushed Putin to sign emergency measures to boost his failing economy. But there's little confidence among American officials that pressuring the Russian president will deter him. To the contrary, U.S. intelligence assesses the more isolated Putin is, the more likely he is to unleash more indiscriminate bombing. During our conversation is Ian Bremmer. He's the president of the Eurasia Group, also the author of the forthcoming book, The Power of Crisis. Ian Bremmer, grateful for your time today, but it is a sad day. We are watching the aftermath of according to the Ukrainians, Russian airstrike on a children's hospital, a maternity ward in Mariupol. This has been one of the things that many people have feared. You have studied Vladimir Putin a long time, that a logical person, 2 weeks in, things aren't going well, might reassess. Instead, the fear is that we'll have this, more indiscriminate attacks on civilian areas.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, pretty much any scenario we look at shows that Putin is going to end up in a materially worse position, both in terms of his own domestic political environment, certainly in terms of Russia's economy, and perhaps most importantly for Putin, if you look at his European security environment, which is ostensibly the reason he invaded Ukraine to begin with, he's going to be much worse off than he was before he invaded, and that makes it harder to find any way for him to climb down, at least until he can credibly make the argument to his people, I've accomplished X, Y, and Z. And right now, he's not there. I mean, until Kiev is taken, until Zelensky is removed from office, it is really hard to imagine a climb down from Putin. And I wish the news were better, but right now, I don't see it.
And so let's listen to the Undersecretary of State, Victoria Nuland, on the point you make right here. Where, how, is there an off-ramp for Vladimir Putin?
The way this conflict will end is when Putin realizes that this adventure has put his own leadership standing at risk with his own military, with his own people, and he will have to change course, or the Russian people take matters into their own hands.
But is that not the Putin paradox, if you will, in that things are going horribly for him? He is isolated globally from an economic standpoint. He has, as you noted, the opposite of what he wanted. More NATO troops, more U.S. troops, an emboldened Europe standing up against him. And now the military campaign is not going as well. Again, a logical person would say, maybe it's time to stand down. Vladimir Putin does the opposite.
Well, it's interesting because Victoria Nuland's point, if you read it from the Russian perspective, would be you see what the Americans and the Europeans are doing is they're trying to destroy the Russian economy to bring about regime change. That's what they really want here. And the way the Russians read that is it's economic warfare. So we need to retaliate against NATO. We need to engage in cyber attacks. We need to engage in asymmetric attacks. We need to find ways to hurt their economy. It's not going to be enough for us to just sit on Ukraine. So, I mean, I have to say, I understand that we want to punish the Russians for the unconscionable decision to invade an independent country of 44 million people. But the Russians do see this as acts of warfare, and they are in a position to retaliate.
I want you to listen here to Vladimir Putin, because every day we try to figure out, is he thinking differently today than he was yesterday? This is an address to the Russian people where he does acknowledge things are not perfect.
I would like to address the mothers, wives, sisters, brides, and girlfriends of our soldiers and officers who are now in battle defending Russia during a special military operation. I understand how you worry about your loved ones. You can be proud of them, just as the whole country is proud of them and worries about them together with you. Let me emphasize that military conscripts do not and will not participate in hostilities. There will be no additional call-ups of reservists from the reserve.
We know, Ian Bremmer, there are conscripts in Ukraine, and there have been hostilities in Ukraine, so we know that Putin lies, frankly. But do you read any significance into the fact that he does feel compelled to address casualties on national television?
Of course. And the fact is, they're not just casualties, but they're casualties in the service of